You know that feeling, right? You look at something, a person's face, a cool looking tree, even just an apple on your kitchen counter, and you think, I wish I could draw that. But when you try, it just doesn't quite work. It's frustrating, and so many of us have been there. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that whole process. We're going to learn how to take what you see with your eyes and make it real on the page. And that's the big question, isn't it? How can I draw? It feels like you're standing at the bottom of this massive, intimidating mountain. You can see the beautiful view at the top, you've got the gear, pencil and paper, but the path to get there, it feels totally invisible.
But here's the thing, the secret that changes everything. The biggest thing holding you back isn't a lack of talent. It's that most of us were never taught how to really see like an artist does. Drawing realistically isn't some kind of magic you have to be born with. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, you can learn it. To really get this, we first need to look at the philosophy behind it all. I mean, is drawing just about wild creativity, or is it a trained skill? Well, as it turns out, the answer is, it's both. It really helps to break it down into these two big ideas. So on one hand, you've got the productive attitude. That's the cool, creative stuff, the unique vision that pops into your head when you think artist. But the foundation for all of that, the thing that holds it all up, is the reproductive attitude. And that's all about something called observational study. It's the training ground where you learn to understand the world and draw it just as it is. So what in the world is observational study? Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a pro athlete hitting the gym. They're not just playing the big game every day, right? They're doing drills, lifting weights, building that core strength and skill. This is your drill. It's a focused exercise to train your brain to pull in as much information as possible from the world around you. It's not the final, beautiful art piece, but it's the hard work that makes that art piece possible. Okay, so you're ready to start training. What kind of super expensive, complicated equipment do you need for this visual workout? Well, the good news is it's about as simple as it gets. Your number one tool is just a pencil. But here's a fantastic tip. Start with a harder pencil, something like an HB or a B. Now, why would you do that? Because they make lighter marks. And this is actually a brilliant psychological trick. When the lines are light, they feel less permanent. It helps you get over that paralyzing fear of messing up. Then, once you're feeling more confident and have better control, you can move on to the softer pencils, like a 3B or 4B, to get those nice, rich, dark lines. All right, so you've got your pencil. Now let's talk about the mindset. This is where we make the big shift from just, making marks on paper to actually training your eye to see the world in a completely new way. The very first thing you need to do is forget everything you think you know about drawing a perfect, clean outline. That is not the goal here. Instead, you're going to start with these light, sketchy, searching lines. You're not trying to define the object right away. You're just exploring it on the page, feeling out its general shape with really loose, free movements. And this really gets to the absolute heart of the whole thing. The process is cumulative. You arrive at the final drawing gradually, not directly. You don't just magically put down the perfect line on your first try. You have to build up to it, moving from a vague idea to a clear one, layer by layer. Okay, all this theory is great, but let's make it real. We're actually going to build a drawing of a simple teapot right here, right now, using this exact method, step by step. All right, step one, and I know what you're thinking. That doesn't look like a teapot. And you're right, that is the whole point. This is just a vague, general shape that kind of captures the overall space the teapot takes up. It's light, it's loose, and there's zero pressure to make it look right. Now, inside that vague shape, we're gonna add some structure. We draw a line right down the middle. That's our vertical axis. It's gonna help us keep things symmetrical. Then we add a few horizontal lines to mark out important widths, like say the widest part of the pot or the top of the lid. Think of these like scaffolding. So now, using that scaffolding as our guide, we can start to put in more confident lines to refine the shape. We're constantly checking our proportions. Is the base wider than the lid? How long is the spout compared to the handle? Those axes are what keep us honest and help us build a structure that actually looks believable. And just like that, after all that searching and constructing, it's paid off. What we have now is a clean, two-dimensional line drawing. It's the blueprint of our teapot. The shape is defined, the proportions are solid, but it's still totally flat. It's time to bring this thing to life. Okay, this is where the real magic happens. So how do we take this flat blueprint and make it feel like a solid object that you could actually reach out and grab? We do it with light and shadow. Now, get ready for a fascinating, kind of weird idea. In drawing, you don't actually draw the light. The white of your paper is the light. Your job is to work with the shadows. You're actually using darkness to carve out the light and give the object form. So how's it done? Well, just like the line drawing, it's all about building up layers. You start by adding a light first layer of shadow, often using a technique with parallel lines called hatching. Then you start building up more and more layers where the shadows get darker. The more different shades of gray you can create from light to dark, the more realistic and three-dimensional your drawing is going to look. And boom, look at that result. By patiently building up all those layers of shadow, that flat 2D blueprint has been completely transformed. It suddenly has weight and volume and depth. It feels like a real three-dimensional teapot sitting there in space. That is the power of this method.
So what did we really learn here? I mean, sure, we drew a teapot, and that's awesome, but the process itself was about something so much bigger than that.
And this is the real takeaway. The whole exercise, from those first searching lines to the very last shadow, it wasn't just about making a picture of a teapot. It was a workout. It was mental training for your mind to observe the world more carefully, and it was physical training for your hand to put those observations down on paper. See, when you learn to draw this way, you're not just learning a new hobby. You are fundamentally changing the way you see the entire world. You're unlocking a new level of perception. So the real question isn't, how can I draw anymore? The real question is, now that I know how to truly look, what will I choose to see?